All right, I'm Bill O'Neill, and we are here at the 2019 Hall of Fame Classic. It's a title match between myself and Jakob Butturff. Previous to this match, I had beat up on my good buddy Jason Belmonte by 80 pins. I was in the middle of deciding whether or not I wanted to make a ball change here, and after this shot here, I should have switched immediately because that was not a terrible shot, and it just didn't hook. The ball was starting to burn up a little bit too much, and but I had bowled 250 something and then 260 something the previous game, so it's kind of hard to get off of a ball when you have big scores like that. So I was just going to try to make some better shots, throw it a little bit slower, get my hand around it, and see if I could get that ball to work a little bit. You know, I put myself in a pretty big hole in this match doing that, but you know, when you're on TV, you're everything's happening so quickly, and you're just trying to make the best decision and stick with it and try to have confidence in it.
238 this week. That includes a 138 that he dropped out of nowhere on Saturday.
At this point, you know, after he throws his practice shots and throws that shot, I was pretty sure, you know, I was going to need a big game, and I wasn't 100% sure what the ball that I was going to switch to was going to do. So to make a ball change there, I knew I could bowl. I thought I could bowl a big game with the green chaos. I'm not even going to begin to dissect Jakob's form. I have absolutely no idea how he does what he does, but it's extremely effective. But I don't know how he slides and hooks it slides that much, hooks it that much. His arm goes the way it goes. I'm not even going to try.
In the wrist area, yeah. We looked at his forearms yesterday.
So he kind of let me off the hook there a little bit by not starting out with the early double. You know, he had some trouble on this lane. The urethane ball started to roll a little bit too early for him, and it didn't. You know, it didn't quite hit. And then he went ahead and missed that spare and gave me even more of a reason not to change balls because I knew no matter what happened in the second and third, the match wasn't going to get out of hand early. So I stuck with this ball because of that, and then because I was trying to make so many things happen with this ball, and knowing that it wasn't the right one, I kind of got out of time and out of rhythm and was trying to make too perfect of a shot. And, you know, for me, sometimes it leads to errors like this where I'm trying to make it hook a lot down the lane, you know, make the ball do something that it's not really going to do.
Anytime you see this number here where it gets outside of 6.
Yeah, getting it to the 2.5 board down the lane on this particular pattern was not a good recipe for success, and as you can see, I barely hit the 3 pin.
That shot there looked overly aggressive. He's tried to stay real soft and slow all day long. He's done a great job of that up until the title match.
Able to clean that one up. All right. This is interesting. You go back to our opening match page for Spencer. This was slow.
So at this point, I'm just trying to remind myself what I do to not throw it all the way out to the 2 board, and I did the same exact thing again. You know, and all honesty, I was nervous. I was getting real nervous. I hadn't been in this position in a long time, where I thought I had a really good chance to win something, and I was pressing a little bit early. So I just had to sit down and regroup a little bit and collect my thoughts and not get too far ahead of myself and thinking about what a win would mean for me here.
And then an 82-point win over Belmo. It was loose, it was fun, it was smiles, it was happy to be back on TV. Now he's in a title fight.
And there's one thing that Jakob Butturff,
He was pretty locked in on this right lane for seemingly a good portion of this match. You can see how the ball was going a little bit longer on this lane for him, and not having as big of an issue with carry.
I think probably more so for Bill O'Neill than Jakob Butturff, especially if Jakob strikes on this ball.
This is his 4th time as a #1 seed in a televised stepladder final. He's 1-2 in those matches, all even after 3.
What he did there is, you know, what all bowlers do, especially good ones, is you're trying not to have what happened the shot before happen again. So it looked like he slowed up a little bit to try to get his ball to come around the corner and knock that 7-pin out, and it ended up rolling a little bit too early, which is, you know, something that can happen with the urethane covers. You know, once you lose that area in the front where the ball starts hooking too early, it's kind of hard to get around it. He's better at it than most of us, just because he gets his ball to hook in different spots than a lot of us. But yeah, that's why he went high there.
And Bill O'Neill struggles. Who will prevail? The title determined next. Said, I am going to be.
So at this point, I'm getting up, and I'm thinking, all right, let's keep the ball a little bit more in front of you. You know, I get really steep with my upper body. I get too far forward. When things start going bad, I'm pressing. I'm trying to make the best shot possible. When you're trying to be too perfect, that's when things go haywire. So I was giving this ball one more shot. It's going to keep it a little bit more in front of me, not get it all the way out to that 4th board there, and you know, and hope for the best. And I made as good of a shot as I could. It was exactly where I wanted to throw it, how I wanted to throw it. And at that point, it was abundantly clear to me that I had to switch balls. There was no option from there. There was really nothing else I could do to, you know, end up bowling a decent game. You know, because at this point, I'm still assuming he's going to bowl at least 220 something. You know, a bowler of his caliber is going to, you know, more often than not, throw a few in a row here after those shots. So I'm thinking, all right, well, let's get into this web tour, something that's going to be a little bit cleaner, and it's going to give me a little more motion down lane. I threw it a few times in practice and at the end of match 2, so I had a fair idea of where I needed to be on the lane with it.
Sure enough, he started this game shaky, finally gets to the pocket. Started 17 out of 20, and now he's 0 for the last 5.
But he's still in it. Top of the 5th, O'Neill. Get on that strike train, kid.
That's a pretty good guess. And that's exactly what it was, a guess, because I had an idea, but I hadn't thrown it in enough time to where that could have really broke loose and hooked high. But you know, I knew off of that I was going to move a couple left, and things were going to be all right, because the ball motion was just, you know, was just so much better than the other ball.
He had 7 or 8 strikes in the last match, and he struggled.
And like all things, even when I'm at the center of the attention, somehow Belmo weasels his way into the shot.
He's had to change his angles to the front. I just saw him make a ball change, which looked a lot smoother for him. Hopefully he throws some good shots coming down the stretch.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time.
No worries.
Guys?
So Belmo talking about the lane starting to change. That guy.
I don't know if he mentioned it
lanes. He does
on
that
there,
during
but I
matches.
think the last 2 times I bowled him on TV combined, I've beat him by about 140 pins. So I'm thinking that's what he was talking about, but I can't be sure, because mostly every time he talks, I tune it out. But I'm assuming that's what he said.
Beats up the front part of the lane and then drags oil to the head pin.
That was another pretty good shot from Jakob. He made a move off the 6-pin, and you know, sometimes you get that deep with the urethane balls. They just don't have enough to get around the corner and you know, and hook enough. So once it misses the spot in the front of the lane, then it goes even further down the lane. It just doesn't have enough to get back, and you know, that leads to the ring 7. And I'm sure at this point, this is where he's contemplating making a ball change himself.
13-pin difference between Butturff and O'Neill.
Butturff by 13, O'Neill bowling.
So we'll see See if O'Neal stays with that ball change on the right lane. Looks like he is going to stay with that. Now, here's the thing.
Jakob likes to move
Strike
around a
here in
lot
sixth
on the
and
set.
fifth.
I've
O'Neal
noticed.
takes the lead.
He's not a still sitter.
Working off
It's a little anxious.
lone strike of the championship match.
At this point, I know I need some strikes, and that was probably the best shot I threw all game, and it came at a really good time. I needed a double. I needed to try to to get in front, and these two frames were super important.
Future Hall of Famer and a player that's maybe won once or twice, and that's it for their career. Bill O'Neal makes this change in the fifth frame. He did it because of the experience that he has under the bright lights and on the biggest stage in professional bowling. He committed to it, and then he executed.
9 tour titles, but hasn't won on TV in singles competition since 2015. That is a massive drought for a guy of this talent.
I got pretty pumped up after that one. That was a huge shot. I needed that one, and it was also a little bit further to the right than the last one on that lane. So to get that one to hook back showed me that I had ball reaction, and I just needed to come close to my target, and I knew that it would do the right thing.
He knew the value of that one. And pressure moves from the O'Neal camp to the Butturff team.
He's been perfect on this lane. First, third, and fifth, all strikes on the right lane.
4 for 4 on the right lane, but to the left, which has caused him some issues.
We'll have a lead change if he does.
I'm pretty lucky that both lanes weren't the same as this right lane, because he would have beat me very easily if he had the same look on the left lane as he did on the right. This is the kind of stuff that can happen on TV shows. You get fortunate sometimes with stuff like that. So he got up and switched balls and made a great shot, and the ball did the right thing, and so put the pressure back on me, and I threw a decent shot there in the eighth and got fortunate to strike. It leaked a little bit further right than I had wanted. It was a little bit quicker than I had hoped for. I think my adrenaline started to catch up to me a little bit there, and at this point, this probably would have been a perfect time for a re-rack, just to kind of collect my thoughts a little bit and take a couple deep breaths and settle down, knowing how important this shot was. And I think because I rushed a little bit, you'll see the end result of that.
Max score 235 for O'Neal, 228 Butturff.
That was about as poor of a shot as I've thrown, on the entire show and all the matches. Just I knew I needed to be a little bit slower, and my major miss when I try to get that slow is just to pull it down a little bit from the top. I get too slow early, and that makes the ball get into the swing late, and then I have to rush it at the end, and that's what happens. So it ends up happening the opposite of what I really actually intended it to do. And then I got lucky again on the spare, and when I let it go, I assumed I missed it the entire way down the lane, and then when I made it, sometimes it just you feel like it's your day for whatever reason. Just even though he needed a double here to shut me out. I don't know, something about make it a spare that you're supposed to miss. It still felt right. And he did exactly the same thing that I did in the ninth. He just tried to slow down and throw it to the left and get his ball to hook. He went light the frame before, and he did exactly the same thing I did.
Bill O'Neal can now shut out Jakob Butturff in the 10th. So max score for Butturff with a conversion, 206. Bill O'Neal, 212.
And now it's really open.
We both probably missed our spares by an equal margin in the ninth frame. It's just his was the wrong side miss. I missed to the left, and I was able to still hit the pin in the front, and that was really the difference. It's probably he missed the 7 pin to the right in the second, and mentally probably an overcorrection of the whatever he did to miss the one to the right. He does it on here to the other side.
Was never out of the number one.
I think he said a bad word there.
So much time to sit and think, and watch today and think about it last night.
Well, and if you look at his game, he could easily have the front 8.
If he uses this ball in this lane the entire match, he also would have beaten me pretty easily. But his his look the whole show, or the whole tournament before the show, was with the purple hammer. So it's kind of hard when you lead a tournament and you bowl as good as he did throughout the whole event to get on TV and completely abandon what you were doing. So sometimes it takes that iffy ball reaction there to do it. But if he would have, again, it's just another fortunate thing that happened to me during this whole match. I actually haven't watched the show in a while. I forgot how lucky that one was. I shouldn't have even needed a spare. I'm talking about how fortunate I got on this show. Turns out maybe I didn't. What hit that?
He went to that ball there. So he'll be in the 190s with good count. O'Neal, he needs a mark. Any kind of mark. He punches his ticket to the Hall of Fame.
So Jacobs,
The very next week, I'm pretty sure he won in Oklahoma he used the urethane ball the whole tournament. And then when it got to the show, he used the reactive ball and he bowled 260. So just learning from past mistakes, and helped him win the next week. This is one of the worst spots to be in, is needing a spare to win, because even though it sounds ridiculous, sometimes it's easier to just throw the strike. This is also not a spot. I mean, before every event, if you told me I just needed to make a 10-pin to win the tournament, I'd take it. But this was, for me, winning title number 10 at the Hall of Fame Classic and needing to make a spare, and I tried to take as little amount of time as possible before I got shot to the spare, because I didn't want to think about it. I just wanted to let my, I'm going to make that 99% of the time, and I just needed to get up there and do it. I'm thinking here, I need 4 pins. Just don't cross the foul line, and don't hit your ankle. So I'm getting it further down the lane than probably I normally would, just to try to avoid any crazy disasters. I was pretty emotional after this one. I hadn't won in a while, a singles event anyway. A few months before this, my mom passed away, and she was my biggest fan. And just to think about, we hadn't been on live TV. I hadn't been on live TV in a long time. This was the first time that my family got to watch as it was happening, and thinking about her, not being around to watch it was pretty tough. I wasn't even thinking about shaking Jacob's hand and doing all the things that you're supposed to do after you win, and I'm surprised I was able to deliver any sort of coherent message after that, but I guess I did. My dad was happy with it, so that's all that really matters.